All right. Good morning. Good morning. I hope we are going live. Welcome to the 7 a.m. Standard. My name is Daniel. We are a little bit of technical difficulties this morning. My laptop did not charge and will not charge. So we're going old school on the iPhone. And don't have we got the little lapel mic, so let's just, the show must go on, as they say. Welcome. This is the 7 a.m. Standard for Men. Thank you for being here. Thank you for tuning in. I started this show for men to talk about challenges that men have, that men go through, that we navigate on a daily basis. If you're a woman and you have a man, it's always good to watch these shows and get a bit of an insight on what men go through. Today's show is about the book of Job. And full disclaimer, I'm not a theological expert. I'm not overly Christian or religious, kind of no fixed religion. I believe in all different faiths and definitely believe in God and the Creator and the universe that guides us. And I hope this message speaks to you, whatever faith, whatever domination that you subscribe to, that this is something that you will get something out of. Because often these stories in the Bible and stories in Scripture and stories throughout mythology, throughout history, Greek mythology, Eastern, Western philosophy, all of these different stories teach us about these archetypical journeys that men go on, these journeys that men navigate through their lives. And there's a theme that all men throughout history follow the same path. They go through the same things, they go through the same trials, they go through the same tribulations of their life experience. Now, as a man, I can subscribe to this because I've been through a lot of these experiences. We have these different things like the dark night of the soul. Jesus wandered the desert for 40 days and 40 nights. Moses sat on the mountaintop, was on the mountaintop for 40 days. Buddha sat under the Bodhi tree, I think, for 49 days. So there's all of these different journeys in Scripture, the journey to the underworld, Jonas in the belly of the whale. Like, there's so many stories throughout history, throughout Scripture, throughout mythology that really document the story that a man goes through. And what I feel is really important for us men to know is that when we go through these things, someone's already walked this path. And sometimes, and this is what's helped with my clients when I'm coaching, is because I've lent into this journey, and it doesn't make me any more special than anyone else. It's just that I have the knowledge of all of the years, 11 years of learning this wisdom and the psychology and these insights. So when these dark nights of the soul and when these things have happened, I've had the ability to, not numb myself from the pain using porn or distractions or alcohol or busyness or over-exercise or drugs or anything like that. I've been able to walk through the fire and fully experience it, and the despair and the pain, and journal about it and learn about it, and then research the experience that I went through so I can document it and be able to share it with other men to help them navigate this path that we all walk through different stages of our lives. Now, these stages have been written about in, as I said, in Scripture and mythology, but also psychoanalysts and psychologists like Carl Jung and Robert Bly. They wrote these different books and many lectures on men's work, and they were Jungian psychoanalysts, but they spoke a lot of this about in men's work and this archetype of initiation and why boys need to be initiated and all of these different areas of the male psyche that repeat. And I feel sometimes when we go through these journeys and this pain, we feel isolated. We feel like we're the only man on the planet. We feel just like we're definitely wandering the metaphorical desert. So I wanted to share this book about Job because, and I don't know how I stumbled on it, to be honest, because I've read some of the Bible. I've read different scriptures and different paragraphs and different things from more of a personal development lesson. Obviously, my knowledge of the Bible is not that strong. Overall understanding of the message, but this book of Job, it's not like a book. It's sort of targeted as a book of having faith, but it's not really that. It's really just a man's what happens to a man when he collapses. Because Job's positioned as righteous, disciplined, prosperous, respected. He did everything right. He was a model citizen. He had everything. He had everything going for him. So the story goes, he was wealthy. He had a beautiful family. He had kids. He was well respected, pillar of society. Everyone loved him. He had the house, the kids, the wife, the community. He had it all. And then, so how the story goes, and if I'm butchering it, please let me know in the comments. But the story goes is God and Satan are having a discussion about Job up in heaven. And Satan goes to God. He's like, well, God, Job's just like this. He's faithful and righteous, and he has faith in God, and he's a loyal servant of you because he has everything. He has it all. So he has no reason not to have faith. So then God strips him. He's like, okay, well, let's test it. So God strips him of everything. He strips him of his money. He strips him of his children, his wife, his house, and leaves him with nothing. Strips him to his bare bones, right? And this is the thing that people realize, right? It's like everyone starts judging him. All his friends and the community are like, oh, well, Job must be a bad man. God is punishing him. God stripped him of everything. He was this shining light, but he mustn't be everything he's cracked up to be. And I think we see this is still in our modern history, is people are waiting for us to fall. If you're a good person, people are looking for things. They're looking for the cracks to prove to themselves that they're okay, right? Like people want people that succeed to fail because it doesn't make them look bad, right? This is so common and it's so tragic especially in Australia with tall poppy syndrome, all of these different things. So people are waiting for us to fall. They're just like, see, I told you he wasn't all cracked up to what he was meant to be. See, I told you that he wasn't a pillar of society. So then they get to feel good about themselves because of their own inadequacies. Unfortunately, people want to see us fall. And that's what Job's friends did. Then apparently there's like chapters and chapters written about just the dialogue between the friends and his community about what they thought about Job in this instant. And so the thing that Job does, right? And this is what men do, right? Like what we do is like, soon as bad things happen, we're like a shit person. Our self-worth is stripped. Like when everything's taken away from us, it's like, what do I have? I have no worth as a man. I have nothing. I'm worthless. I'm shit. I'm broken. And we spiral because we don't have any contribution. We spiral inwards. But the whole story and the whole reason about Job is like when a man's stripped of all of his material possessions in this world, he still has worth. He still has meaning. He still has a place in this world. And I feel this is my journey that I've been on for the last 6 months, is like when things keep getting stripped away from me, it's only made me, at the start, I was just taking it personal that I was a shit person, that I had low self-worth, I had no contribution to society. But what it was doing was God, the creator, source, was stripping everything away from me to show me that with who am I without all of the external accolades, without the celebrations, without the money, without the partner, without all of these things, who is the man that I am underneath all of that? And it strips us away to show us that we have inherent worth just for existing. We are divine creations. We are divine beings. We're a child of God. We are, a product of a divine universe. We're not some byproduct, of random evolution, right? Because a man's worth is so tied to his output, right? So Job goes on this quest and he's like, he wants meaning. He's like, God, why did you do this to me? I've done everything. And he's just like going at God, straight at him and saying, God, why did you do this? Why did you forsake me? And God comes back to him and says, doesn't apologize, doesn't justify, said, where were you when I laid the foundations of the earth? Do you command the morning? Right? So what God's saying is that, doesn't say you were wrong. He said, but you're too small to understand the problem. Right? And regardless of what you believe in, God or the universe or whatever, it doesn't matter. But what it's saying is that there is a bigger plan for you that you cannot see in this moment. Right? Like when bad things happen to us, we all of a sudden we go to the men, we go to the, I have no worth in society. Who I am I? Like I've been divorced. I don't see my kids as much, and they're sitting alone and they're feeling sorry for themselves, or they lose their job and their self-worth spirals, right? We hear so many CEOs or people that have lost their jobs, lost their high-flying jobs as leaders, CEOs of corporations, and they end up sitting under bridges homeless because they end up getting divorced and everything because they start creating issues at the home. They've got no purpose, no self-worth, no meaning, no reason to live. And they had money. They still had money. But the job wasn't about the money. The money, it was about the significance, the purpose, the identity. All right? So God will strip things away from us. God will strip things away from us until we get the lesson. He'll strip things away from us to show us where we can show up in a way where we are whole and complete without the need for external validation, right? We don't need validation from a woman to make us feel safe, to keep us whole. We don't need validation from our work or our accolades. We just need to know that we have inherent worth. And when we have inherent worth, we are so far more dangerous, and dangerous in a good way. Dangerous is in we can take risks. We're not afraid of upsetting people. We're not afraid of getting things wrong. We're not afraid to fail because we are not seeking to please. We're not seeking to placate. We can just show up in our full self. Because Job, what it tells us is that the man who did everything right, he built the life, he played by the rules, right? But that is we do these things like a little dancing pony. We do all of the steps, and we do this for this person, and we say yes, and we show up, and we do everything. But we're doing it to perform. We're doing it because that's what society thinks what we need to do. And we provide, we endure, we work, we keep our word, we suppress our doubt, we build a life that looks successful, and then everything falls down around us. But it's not to break us, it's to shape our existence, it's to forge us into a new version of ourselves, one that doesn't require, our identity doesn't require all of those things, right? So what happens when these things happen is we rush to medicate. We want to stay positive. We want to distract from it. But the soul wants the truth, right? The soul wants the truth. It wants us to stare in the face of the darkness and see who we really, truly are underneath all of the things, underneath all of the false idols, the false identities, the false platitudes. Because we get, and I want to share these 3 teachings with you. What Job models for men. You're allowed to question reality without becoming cynical or small. You do not need false certainty to be strong. Strength can coexist without not knowing. A man can be stripped and not destroyed if he lets his identity die before his spirit dies. All right? So I think that is the most important lesson, is that when things are stripped from you, it's not personal. It's not God or your creator or karma punishing you. It's revealing you to yourself. It's revealing the false identity that you've built a life on, right? So you get to use this as a powerful tool to rebuild your life, right? Because we don't have rites of passage, right? We bleed in silence in the midlife, right? And Job gives us the map, right? Job gives us the map of the pathway out of the darkness. Job gives us the pathway to be able to reveal ourselves to ourselves. Now, if you're a man and you're going through something, I feel you, right? But what I want you to do is look at every part of your life. Where are you showing up as the false identity version of yourself, of what you're doing, what's required? And if things have been stripped away from you, I guarantee you it's not going to last. I guarantee you this is an initiation. It's a blessing. It's a gift. It's an initiation for you to reveal yourself, reveal the man that's underneath. It's a gift. It's your creator showing you that you have worth, showing you that there's a bigger lesson and a bigger plan for you than you could possibly understand. I think what happens with a lot of us when we're in this thick of it, in the darkest of places, we can't see a path out of hell. We can't see a path out of the darkness. And that's why it helps having a mentor, having a coach or a mate or a brother that you can speak to, just to talk things out, or to journal, to write things out, to write down all of your pain, to write down all of your sadness, all of the questions. Like, ask God, ask your creator, whatever you believe in. Say, why? What is the lesson in this? What is the lesson in this pain? What is the lesson in the thing that I'm going through that I can take into the next chapter of my life so I don't repeat this? How do I show up differently? God, creator, what is the message that you're trying to place in me that is going to help me become someone new in the future. Like, don't ask, why did you do this to me? Ask, how can I become better, a better version of myself? What is this contraction? What is this life lessons and all of this teaching me? Things that I've hidden, things that I haven't, the truths that I haven't told myself, the truths I haven't spoken to people around me. Because the lessons are there for us to learn as men, or else we wouldn't be put into these situations where things will get taken away from us. And things will continue to get taken away from us until we learn the lesson, until we realize that we are whole and complete as we are, not for the contribution that we give to society. There was a guy, and it went viral on Facebook and Instagram. He was in America. He was a dad. He had lots of kids, and he was an actor, and he did all these really cool projects. And then he got cancer, and he couldn't do any of that. He couldn't provide. He couldn't show up. He barely had the energy for his kids, and he was slowly dying. And he did this sort of Facebook, Instagram message. And he was really just sharing. He's like, who am I now? Like, he goes, my whole life was built on how good I was at my career, how good I was at providing, how good I was at doing all of the things that society told me that I should do. But without that, I don't even know who I am. And this is the existential question for every man. Because the spiritual teacher, David Guillaume, look him up, he's incredible. He's been helping me with this, is knowing that a man or a woman has inherent worth just for existing. You don't need to have God's favor to have worth. You don't need to show up and self-sacrifice and do all of these things to prove that you have worth to anyone. If you have worth, if you know that you have inherent worth, life becomes easier, because then you don't need anything from anyone else. You don't need to take energy from someone to go, hey, please see me and please give me worth. You have inherent worth just for existing, just for who you are. And when we do that, life becomes freer. Life becomes easier, because we no longer need to perform to get an outcome. We can go into situations, whether if you're going networking, or you're speaking on stage, or you're at your job and you're a leader, or you're with your wife and your kids, you don't need something from them. You become a giver. You become a giver of energy, not a taker of energy, because you don't need anything from anyone to make you whole and complete. And it's so, I said it before, but it's so freeing when we know that we have wholeness inside us. We know that we're whole and complete. As a man, we don't need anyone else to make us feel safe, to secure. It makes your relationship stronger, because you're not as needy with your wife. You're not as needy with your kids. You're not looking for accolades. You're not looking for things in your external reality to make you feel good about yourself. You have inherent worth. And then so we become, like if you think about the law of correspondence, we become an attraction energy. So we start to attract people and circumstances and opportunities to us, because we are whole, because we are givers, not takers of energy. The law of correspondence says, as within, so without, as above, so below. So everything that I've read, some things in like the book of Thomas, which is a book that was left out of the Bible. It's apparently the sayings of Jesus to Thomas that he wrote down. But he talks about this law of correspondence. The Kabbalion talks about the law of correspondence. There's these universal laws that govern our existence. And the law of correspondence states it's like our internal, Neville Goddard talks about this as well. It's like whatever's on the internal is literally a projection and a reflection of your external world. Like the only thing that we can change is our external world. We're often going out there trying to control, and I've done this, we're trying to control our external world. We're trying to get people to recognize us. We're trying to say, hey, please see me. Please see me for my worth. Please see me for what I'm doing. We're constantly going to the external world to get validation of our projection. But what we need to do is we need to know that our internal world is the projection to the external world. So the only thing that we can change is our internal world, our internal existence, and our internal projection. And something that I was listening to Neville Goddard speak about last night when I was laying in bed is he says this reality is a dream. It's a dream. And I've heard this, it's like everything is a projection. Like this world is a dream and you can control your dream. And I was just like far out. It's like we are living, I've heard this before, that we're living in a simulation that's just a projection of our internal reality, right? So humor me on this. If life is just a dream, and in dreams, people can lucid dream and they can change their dream, why cannot we bend our reality in this world? Because we've all been there. When things are going wrong, everything starts to go wrong. As soon as we start to go internal, our brain starts turning on ourselves, we start to spiral inward, everything goes to shit. But when we are buzzing, it's like, and you're feeling good about yourself, like opportunities, everything just starts to happen. Everything starts to just build. Is it just the external that creates our internal, or is it internal that creates the external? It's always the latter. We shift, then reality shifts. Is it a coincidence? Absolutely not. This has been talked about for thousands of years. When we change on the inside, and this is the hardest thing, we have to change on the inside, and then it takes a while for reality to catch up. Right? When Job was in hell, right, in purgatory, he had to have faith. Right? He had to have faith. Neville Goddard calls it faith in the unseen reality. Faith that you cannot see the divine unfolding. But when you have faith in the unseen reality and you live in the end, live in the wish fulfilled, he calls it. So you can't see your reality changing with your eyes, but you have to have faith in the thing that you cannot see. And you imagine it and you believe it's possible, and then everything shall be given to you. So this is such an important lesson. So I want to leave you with that. I trust this class has been valuable, the 7 a.m. standard for men. Please share it. I trust that you got lots of value out of this, and hopefully my laptop charges and we will not be using the iPhone tomorrow. Have the best day. And we had no Jimmy or Tina either today, so have the best day, and we'll see you 7 a.m.